November meeting for SNDA. I'm super excited about it. So today we have Beth Monsell speaking with us, also known as Budget Bytes on the internet. You may know her by, but she received her BS in nutritional science from LSU and her clinical laboratory science, bachelor's of science. And she runs a blog teaching people how to make affordable meals. I know I've made some of them and they're absolutely delicious. So I will let her take it away. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody. It's kind of fun to talk to some LSU dietetic students since I was once in your seat. So I graduated from LSU in dietetics in 2007. Which is so long ago now. It feels like yesterday, but it was a while ago. And in my senior year, I started to realize that while I loved the study of dietetics and how the body works and everything, medical nutrition therapy was definitely my favorite course. I loved that part of it, but I started to realize that I didn't think I was going to love the practice of being a dietitian. I'm not really a people person. I didn't think I would enjoy counseling patients, and the thought of managing a food service operation like a hospital or a school just did not sound appealing to me at all. So I was like, well, what now? What do I do? I don't want to continue with an internship, go further into a debt for a job that I didn't think I was going to enjoy, and that, frankly, I didn't think it had a very high starting pay. So kind of had to regroup, decided not to do an internship, and I worked for a little while after graduation at Whole Foods in the prepared foods department, which is kind of in line with the degree, because there was a lot of food service management type stuff that I did there. And during that time, my student loans went into repayment. I was not making a lot of money, and I had to start looking for other areas in my budget where I could really start cutting back. And I had already cut out all discretionary spending. I was not buying clothes. I was not getting haircuts, not buying makeup, there was no spending. So food was the only area left that I had to manipulate in my budget. And having just graduated in dietetics, I wasn't okay with eating really cheap, bad for me food, because I knew in the long run that would cost me more in healthcare costs. So I started using the techniques that we actually learned in the food service management courses for costing out recipes. I started doing that at home in my own kitchen. And I'm a real numbers person. I love data. I love calculating things. So I was just really geeking out on this in my own house, to myself. And I got really excited about seeing how little the food cost when I was cooking it at home. So I had posted on my personal Facebook, like, oh my God, I just made this recipe and it only cost me $5. And it was, it's going to feed me for 6 days, and so friends started asking me for recipes, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should put this on the internet. And this was 2009 at that point. And I was like, okay, let me start a blog. And then I was like, well, wait, what is a blog? How do I start a blog? So I Googled that. And that's how I learned how to start a blog. And so again, this was in 2009. So we were going through a major recession at that time, just like we are now. And pretty much as soon as I put it on the internet, people found it, because people were searching for cheap meals. They were searching for the information that I was putting out there. And I learned really quickly that this is more than just a personal project for me. This is information that people needed and that I could give them. So I was doing the legwork. I was figuring out how to make cheap meals that still were satisfying and still were nutritionally well-rounded. And it took off right away and started growing, and that snowballed into writing a cookbook in 2014. I now have a mobile app, and the blog is just still growing every day, especially now, we're entering into another recession. So I'm really glad that I have 10 years of content to have available for people to use. And it was just a really interesting way that I fell into this career, because it really used all of the skills that I had from my past all in one career. So I've always loved cooking, and I love being able to help people, which is, the dietetics part of it. And I think the missing link for me was, you can tell people to eat healthy all day long, but if they don't know how to, or if they don't know how to make it enjoyable, they're not going to do it. So I don't actually talk about health at all on my blog, but I am kind of sneakily teaching people healthy habits and ways to get vegetables into their diet and things like that, in an enjoyable way. So when they do go to the dietitian or their doctor and they tell them, look, we need you to, get more fiber in your diet or whatever, they now have something to fall back on. They have the tools to learn how to do it, because I give step-by-step photographs with all of my recipes, and they know how to do it within their budget. So it's like, I'm kind of that in between place where people can go to learn these skills where they don't have anywhere else to learn it. So I think that was really needed for a lot of people in our country. So I'm kind of glad I fell into this, and it makes me happy that I'm able to use the skills that I learned in my degree, even though I'm not a dietitian, even though, I'm not specifically saying, hey, here's how to be healthy, So it's been really exciting. I've had people email me over the years like, oh, I just started cooking recipes so I could save money, and I accidentally lost 75 pounds, because even when you make really small changes, like, eating out 2 times less a week and eating at home, a couple more times, that can make such a drastic change to your health situation. So it's been really fun. And owning my own business has been great. That's been a journey. I don't know. Do you guys have any questions about anything particular? I can go into anything more that anyone's interested, if anyone has questions. No?
I have a question.
Sure.
What was the hardest part about starting up your company?
Not knowing what I'm doing. Like, I don't have a business background at all. I think I enjoy learning how to start a business, but I didn't know how to do it. So everything that I've done and built, I've learned as I've gone. So that's kind of scary. You do make mistakes along the way, but I think the fact that we live in the age of the internet is really incredible, because you can learn how to do anything just by Googling it. So that's fun. But it's a big scary thing when your business is growing faster than your knowledge. So one of the really hard things is learning to let go and outsource to people who do know what they're doing. So building a team, basically, because you do get to a point where there's just not enough hours in the day to do everything in your business that needs to be done, or to learn everything or be an expert in everything that needs to be done with your business. So I have had to grow the team mostly over the past 5 years, and it's hard because your business is your baby, and it's hard to give people those responsibilities, because you're not sure if they're going to do things as good as you are, or you're not sure if you hired the right person. So that's kind of difficult. But I think the important thing is remembering to not tell yourself that you can't do it before you even try. Just always try. You might fail, and that's okay, but you keep going, you figure out what went wrong, and then you try again. And that's really the only way that you can move forward with being successful. Let me see the chat.
We have a question in the chat. Do you have any barriers to providing credibility to your viewers since you are not a dietitian?
No. So like I said, I don't talk about health at all because I don't have those credentials. So I avoid the subject entirely. And so I teach people like, hey, here's a really inexpensive meal and it's delicious. And oh, it just happens to have tons of beans and vegetables in it, and they find out that they like it under the guise of it being inexpensive and delicious. And then they find out on their own that, oh my God, this food is actually pretty healthy. So I don't even go there. All I talk about is this is inexpensive and delicious. Oh, but recently, talking about expanding my team, I do have a dietitian that I use as a consultant now. So she is doing all of the nutrition calculations, because for a long time, I didn't even put nutrition data on the recipes because frankly, I don't find them to be at all accurate. They can just, I mean, there's so many variables, they can be completely wrong if you're just calculating things on paper. So I avoided that for a long time, but so many people want it and Google wants it. So it does affect the success of my business if I don't have that information on there. So
so we've been doing well. We have guest speakers at.
Who is that talking? Should I continue? Don't know who's talking. Okay. So I have a dietitian who is working with me part-time to do all the calculations for the nutrition info for all the recipes. And she is also helping me put together some meal plans that are specific to certain dietary needs. Like we're doing a low sodium, gluten-free, dairy-free, and low carb, because we do have some meal plans that we've been selling over the past year or so. So yeah, I have a dietitian that helps with stuff like that, but we don't give any sort of dietary advice or medical advice or anything like that. Not only because I don't have the credentials, but that opens you up to a whole lot of legal issues. So not going there.
I also have a question. How was the journey building your recipe book?
So writing a cookbook is a really interesting thing. I mostly did it just so I could have the experience. I did publish through a major publisher. It's Penguin Books, one of their subsidiaries, Avery. And it's so interesting. It's about an 18-month process. You have about, I think it was like 6 months to write the recipes. Well, actually, let me back up and go a little bit into how you actually get a book deal. So most of the time you have to find an agent first. So you send samples, like a book proposal that you have to write to agents, and they decide if they want to represent you, and then they might help you refine your book proposal, and then they'll shop your book proposal to different publishers. Mine was kind of the opposite direction. I had a publisher who was interested in writing a book based on my website. So they actually contacted me first, and then I still had to get an agent, because an agent is going to do all the contract negotiations for you, which is very complex. It's kind of like when you buy a house. I don't know if anyone's gone through that yet, but there's a lot of things that need to be negotiated to protect you and to make sure you get a fair deal. And your agent is going to know all the ins and outs of that. So you definitely have to have a literary agent to get a book deal. And so the literary agent helped me write a book proposal, which is a pretty lengthy process. It's almost like writing a little mini book. You write your introduction, you do some sample recipes, you do a big old outline so they can see what the book would include. And then you have to include things like competition, what the landscape is for your audience. It's a big thing. You can actually Google how to write a book proposal to see examples of what types of things you would need to include. So anyway, once the contract negotiations are done, I had about 6 months to write the recipes, and they wanted, it was over 100 recipes. I think it ended up being like maybe around 115, and only 20% or less could be recipes that were already on the website. So I had to write at least 80 new recipes for the book in 6 months. And that was while I was still working full-time in a hospital laboratory and doing the blog. So that was an interesting time in my life. So you write the recipes for about 6 months, and then you go into about 6 months of editing. And it goes back and forth between you and some copy editors. I think we went through probably 7 or 8 rounds of editing, and that is a really just arduous process. And then after that, there's about 6 more months of publicity that goes into it before it's actually published. So it's a really long process. You don't get paid very much at all. And that's why a lot of people just don't really do cookbooks anymore. So it was a fun experience. I'm glad I did it. But as far as ever doing it again, I probably wouldn't, because I make so much more money publishing online, and I have 100% control over what I'm publishing online. I have no deadlines, I'm working completely for myself. Whereas when you're writing a book, you have to answer to your editor, you have to answer to a lot of different people. And then, I don't know if you know this, but when you publish a book, you only get, I think it's like around 7% of the sale price. So it's a very small percent that you actually earn on a book that you publish. So yeah, it's interesting. Wouldn't do it again, but I'm glad I did it. Let's see, do we have any other questions over here? Okay, so Courtney asked, so were you in your internship and then you decided to do this instead? So this is kind of a hairy story. I'm not very proud of it, but I did get matched to an internship there in Baton Rouge, the one at Southern University. And I went to the first day and I basically just had like a personal breakdown. I'm like, I can't do this. I know I don't want to do this. This is too much money and I hate it already. And I quit after the first day. And yeah, it's like probably the worst thing I could have done, but I had to make the decision for myself, for my own happiness and my mental stability. And I'm glad I did, because it ended up working out okay for me. Now I own my own business and I'm very happy. But I don't suggest anyone doing that, because again, I took somebody's spot for an internship that they could have had, and then it just went unfilled. So I feel bad about that. How do people go about contacting you to get the meal plans? And do you do the meal plans especially for each customer? Okay, so for the meal plans, what we ended up doing is I just created basically, first I started with 4 sets of meal plans. Each meal plan is 4 weeks and it's just dinner recipes. So they're responsible for their own breakfast and lunch. So it's 6 dinners a week, and then we provide all of the recipes and all the grocery shopping lists, so they don't have to do that part. And I think that's probably the biggest hurdle for people when they're meal planning, is trying to create the grocery list, because it takes a lot of time to pick out your recipes and to go to each recipe, write everything down, consolidate it into one list, And another big thing that we focus on with the meal plans is reducing waste. So I make sure if there are leftover ingredients from the grocery list, they know how to use them, or they can use them the next week. So I really go into that a lot, because it's very budget conscious, obviously. So instead of doing custom meal plans for people specifically, because it's so much work, I just did general meal plans, and they're selling very well. And you can find them at mealplans.budgetbytes.com. I'll type that here. Actually, I'll put the link in there. And so we've come up with, I think, 8 different ones now. And then we have another set that we'll probably release maybe in a month or 2. And then the diet specific ones that I'm working on with the dietitian will probably be out next spring. Yeah, but the meal plans it was tough because, as I'm sure you guys probably know, everybody has different needs as far as meals. People eat different amounts. They have different, food preferences, food allergies. So I put it off for a long time. I had a lot of people asking for years, can you make meal plans, meal plans, meal plans? And I'm just like, well, how am I supposed to make one meal plan that's going to fit everybody? And you really can't. So I just did a very general one, and people use them, and if they need to change something, they change something. And with the meal plans, they also get access to like a private Facebook group for all the meal plans customers, where if they need to change something, they can ask a question and I'll answer it usually like right away, because I'm always online. So that's pretty cool too. Let's see. Oh, and the person that was talking said they were attending a different meeting at the same time. Okay. So maybe I'll talk a little bit about dietitians who are bloggers, because there are a lot of them, and I think it's a great thing for dietitians to do. I think it's really helpful probably for your patients. So I think it's smart, and I think you can probably build your own business doing it. I don't think the market is oversaturated. but blogging is a lot of work, and you do have to be someone who loves learning something new every day, because the internet changes every day. There's always something new happening. There's always a new social media platform you need to learn and be on. But I think it's a really great way to reach people. So if what you love doing is helping people, and that's how you want to use your degree in your profession, I think blogging is a really great way to do it. You could even do something as simple as just not even having like a website blog, but using any one specific social media platform and using that kind of like as your blogging tool. But I think it's a really great way to make the information that you have for people accessible, and just not as intimidating as like walking into a doctor's office and meeting with a dietitian. Because I think that's a big barrier for people too. If they can meet you and get the information they need on their own terms, which is in their house, on their phone, or, you know, while they're sitting with their laptop, I think that's just a really, really great way to kind of meet in the middle. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
What is one of your favorite recipes that you've developed, or like one that you love to make?
Okay, I'll only grab the link for you real quick because it's so good. This is my cold peanut noodle salad. And it's basically, so it's like a salad of red cabbage, cold whole wheat spaghetti noodles, there's green onions, there's shredded cabbage, shredded carrots. So it's like super colorful, really crunchy. You've got like lots of flavors and colors and textures going on. And then it's like a really simple peanut dressing. So it kind of has like that Thai flavor. And it's so filling. It's got so many nutrients, lots of fiber, and it meal preps really, really well. So it's like you can make it on the weekend and then just like eat it for the next 4 or 5 days or whatever, and have your really healthy lunch all set to go. And then you can add stuff too. Like if you want more protein, you can add cooked shrimp or chicken, whatever you want. But I absolutely love the salad. Let's see. What else is dietetics related? So let me ask you guys a question. How do you feel about the whole cooking aspect of your profession? Because I remember when I was in school and we had our class with Ms. Myhan for cooking, and it was one class out of the whole degree. And there were a lot of people in that class who had never cooked a single thing before in their life. Do you guys worry about that when you're consulting with clients, or how do you feel about cooking and offering advice for people that need to start eating healthier?
I know personally for me, I love cooking. That's how I got into dietetics.
Cool.
I grew up playing it like my little kitchen or what network and stuff. So that was one of my favorite classes I've taken here. And I look forward to when I hopefully do become a dietitian, like passing on knowledge about like easy like recipes and cooking and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a big part about being a dietitian is knowing what foods go together, like nutrient wise, and knowing that if you cook it too long, then there's no nutrients in it.
Mm-hmm.
So food and cooking obviously go hand in hand, and it's important to know like what your clients are able to do, for one, with like the equipment they have, and for you to have the expertise behind you to know which recipes to provide. So I think it's very important.
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of people, I actually have a lot of dietitians say they use my website as a resource a lot. And then also I get a lot of people who run food banks who are using my content to help their food bank patrons, you know, figure out what they can make with the stuff at the food bank. Because as you know, as I'm sure you know, because you probably have to do the volunteer work that we did, but food insecurity is a huge issue. It's probably only going to become more now that we're in another recession. So just knowing, like, even, I mean, if your food sources are limited, then your options are going to be even more limited for, you know, what you can make. And if you don't have the knowledge of how to, you know, make something, then you're even more limited. So having that missing piece of education on how to actually prepare food is so important. I don't know if I'm rambling now.
I have a question.
Sure.
So where do you do you just kind of trial and error to come up with the recipes, or do you have a specific plan, or how does that work?
Yeah, I'm kind of more of a fly by the seat of my pants type person. And it's funny because I talk about this a lot with my other blogging friends. And some people plan out their content calendar like a year in advance. They know what they're going to cook. And I go a lot by what I feel like eating, because I actually eat most of the food that I cook for the blog. So I might be like say for that peanut noodle salad, I might be like, oh, really, you know, I'm really craving some Thai food. How can I make something that has those flavors, but is really simple? Because I am not interested in doing a really complex, you know, authentic Thai recipe, because I don't know how to do that. So, you know, I might look at what I am interested in eating and then just try to really simplify it. And then I'll test it, see how it works out, see what needs to be tweaked, and then go again. And usually I can get it just how I want it within 2 to 3 testing periods. Sometimes it's a little bit longer and I get frustrated and give up. But so yeah, I do test the recipes a couple of times. And then sometimes I'm inspired by things I see in the grocery store. I'll go in the freezer aisle and you see all these prepared meals. And I'm like, well, I could probably make that really fast and easy and really inexpensively. So let me try to make that at home, or my own version of it. So a lot of times I'm just kind of simplifying things that I already know I like to eat that I'm eating somewhere else, and just trying to make it at home. And it's pretty fun. Yeah. Any other questions? Trying to think of what else might be useful for you guys. But yeah, I think there are a lot of places online now where dietitians can do extra work and kind of have side hustles on the internet. So if you guys are ever interested in doing something more than a hospital job, like I said, you could start your own blog or social media profiles to kind of share what you love about food or health. You can work with other bloggers like the dietitian that is working with me. I actually have another dietitian who's not working with me as a dietitian. She is in England, and I'm using her right now to do some of the editing on my photos, because she is also a photographer. So after I do a photo shoot, I send her the raw files, and she does all of the color correction and the cropping and, you know, just the basic photo editing stuff. And then she sends them back to me for the final tweaking. So there's definitely a lot of freelance work that you guys could do too, if you just kind of want to explore the profession and kind of get your feet wet, to kind of just see what it is before just jumping in with both feet. So that would be something fun to do. I don't know if you'd ever have time, because I know internships and school are very time consuming. Let's see.
Beth, do you ever give students any opportunities to help you out with things to get a little bit of this experience?
I haven't yet, because I just started building my team. And just before COVID started, I was planning on starting a content team, which would be people that actually come and work with me. And I have had people ask over the years if they could be my intern. I don't think I would ever do an intern, so to speak, because I don't believe in having people work without paying them. So if anything, it would be a paid internship or really just a paid part-time position. But I haven't needed that yet. Yeah, it's really hard delegating out your work. I do think that has been the absolute most difficult thing of growing the business so far. Because it also, it takes time to train people to do what needs to be done. So that's scary because sometimes it feels like, well, it's just taking me longer to train someone than to just do it myself. So yeah, I don't have any positions like that yet, but I might in the future if I continue to grow. Yeah. They would most likely be in the areas of things like social media or copywriting, things like that. So having multiple skills definitely helps. If anyone is interested in blogging in general, definitely get familiar with WordPress and how that works, because that's like an absolute must before you can really do anything in the blogging world.
What are some of the skills that you like highly recommend besides those, even like not for dietitians, for just for college students in general, for the workforce?
Okay, so college students in general, just for getting like any sort of position with anyone, definitely communication skills are so important. So your writing skills and speaking skills, and even just like customer service skills, because that extends to how you communicate with your boss or anyone that you're working with, not just the public. So I definitely think communication skills are the top thing that you need to have. So make sure you know how to write clearly, concisely. I think your technical writing course that you probably had to take will help with that. And just, make sure your grammar is good. I think that turns people off when you're applying for a job really fast. And, just being a self-starter and motivated, that is huge too. I feel like anyone who makes it all the way through college is probably going to have that already, because it does take some hard work and dedication to finish that degree.
Does anyone have any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really enjoyed it. It's so interesting to see all the different things you can do in just with our degree. So sure. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome. And I'm going to put my email address in here. If anyone has any questions about anything, I'm always happy to help. So you can feel free to email me at any time, and I'm happy to give you my insights or answer any questions that you have.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So some updates for y'all. Oh no. Starting with what the hey. So this is what our final, y'all can see the PowerPoint, right? Okay. I'm not the most tech savvy at times, so I just wanted to make sure. So what the hey, this is what our final hay day looked like, and we became victorious with first place 2 years in a row. Dr. McKinley's holding up the trophy now. So yeah, super cute. I absolutely loved it. Thank you for everybody who helped. And then our Battle of the Cans. So we collected 422.5 pounds. Ended up getting third place, so super excited about that. And shout out to Lydia Trappy, because she donated the most and won a Whole Foods gift card for it. So super proud of her. And then we have a member of the month. So I'll let Dr. McKinley talk about that.
Yay! So Audrey Barlow was chosen as the member of the month for October. She has been stepping up and doing a lot of volunteering, getting students involved with her, and really setting a good example for how students should be getting involved, especially in their senior year. So congrats to Audrey. So don't forget, if you want to be considered for the November and December, I'm going to kind of do both of them because I want people to have as many opportunities as possible to get awards and stuff. If you want to be considered for the November or December member of the month, just email me by the 25th, so by Thanksgiving, and kind of let me know why you think you should be member of the month. If I don't receive any emails, then I just kind of decide. And usually it comes to me through divine intervention. The name pops up in my head. If I have been seeing people doing a lot of stuff, their name pops up a lot on things, and that's usually who I go with. But if you would like to promote yourself to be one of those folks, just send me an email by the 25th of the month.
Awesome. Congrats, Audrey. Saw those pumpkin bites that you made with your mentee, and those looked delicious. I'm going to have to try those out.
Yeah, that whole idea was Audrey's too. That went into my decision as well.
Yes, she did awesome with that. And I'm super excited to see everybody else's recipes who's participating. So, and then the Thanksgiving baskets. If Amy wants to talk about it, I don't know if she's still on.
Yes, I'll talk about it. So the Thanksgiving drive, sorry about interrupting the speaker earlier. That was embarrassing. But the Thanksgiving drive is going on right now, and we're having the drive till the 16th, and again, $5 Venmo to the SNDA Venmo, or 5 items equals 1 point, and they're going to the Nat Paul outside Dr. McKinley's office or the food lab. And if you want to help assemble or deliver baskets, there's a sign up right there, and it's also going to be sent out with a minute, so I can send that in the chat too, but if you don't catch that, it'll be in the minutes to help deliver the baskets.
Thank you. And then next up are lovely sweatshirts that we had some issues with, but they're back. So I'll let Abby or Shelby talk about this.
Yeah, so a lot of you bought sweatshirts the first time around. So what we tried to do was we used a new company that we hadn't used before, and basically what happened was we set up a fundraiser, and so it was like we would make a certain amount SNDA, and they would get shipped straight to you. Sounded like a great idea. Well, then when we were like done with it, they contacted us and said that LSU wouldn't allow them to sell anything on their fundraising platform with like anything LSU logo type on it. So we had to start over. So everybody that ordered originally should have been refunded. If you didn't, definitely send me an email so I can let them know. But now we have a group order going, so you can still order it and get it shipped straight to your house or your apartment, wherever. And I think it kind of goes the same way as the first time when, like, I don't think everything will be shipped until after it closes. So, like, if you ordered it a week ago or whenever it started, like, don't expect it until it closes. So it'll close on November 17th, which is a week from today. So if you haven't ordered it yet, make sure you do that. And they're at a cheaper price now that it's not a fundraiser. So definitely you just have to pay for the sweatshirt and then shipping. And I think it varies a little bit depending on how many you order. But yeah, that closes next Tuesday. So don't forget to do that. I think that's it.
Yes, super cozy. I will be getting one now that the weather's getting all cool. Definitely recommend getting one. But we still have a fundraiser, so get excited for that. I don't know who's going to talk about this, Abby again or Shelby?
I'll talk about it. So we're having a raffle to raise money for SNDA, and we have some awesome prizes for y'all. So tickets are $5 a piece, and you can go into the Google form we made to choose what prizes you want to enter to win. And with that, you can choose how many tickets you want to go to each prize. And then anyone who buys at least one ticket will be entered to win a mystery $25 gift card. So even if you just buy one $5 ticket, you have the chance of winning, the prize you entered or the mystery gift card. So that's really cool. And payment is going to be due by 3 p.m. on Tuesday, December 1st. So any unpaid ticket requests are going to be void after that. And we are going to draw at our December 1st meeting, which is at 4:30 like usual. And you can pay via the SNDA Venmo, or you can bring cash or check to Dr. McKinley's office. So yeah, and if y'all have any questions about the raffle or anything going on with that, just feel free to reach out to me or Abby or Dr. McKinley. We'll be happy to answer your questions about it. So yeah.
And the prizes are a combination of things that can be picked up from my office. So if you're local and you want to pick it up, but we also have prizes that will be shipped directly to you via Amazon. So you do not have to be in the Baton Rouge area to go after some of these prizes. And the mystery gift card right now is $25, but I might feel like increasing that depending on how many people buy tickets. So it's still a mystery. So when you go on that link, you can just buy tickets for the prize you actually want to win. You don't have to buy tickets for a prize you don't want to win.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't all the prizes right here. I want to say we have like 10-ish.
I think we have 11 plus the mystery.
Okay, yeah. So there's plenty of them that you can enter. And like she said, even if you just buy one ticket, like you can put it in one of the gifts and then, one of the prizes, and then still be entered to win that gift card.
Yes, super exciting. Have some great stuff. I know I will be buying tickets.
So it doesn't have to just be y'all. It can be your family. You can buy tickets for your family. These are good regifters, Christmas gifts for your family members if you are seeing one that mom or dad or grandma might like.
Yes. All right, and then brand, I will let Andy talk about this. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hey guys. So if you still want to join brand, you can. The link is right there. We are also having a virtual cooking demo coming up, which is Monday the 23rd by Miss Judy Myhan. It's going to be via Zoom, and I'll send that link out when I send the email tomorrow morning. And I'll put in the chat too. But it's 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. and she's going to give us ideas and show us healthy holiday meals. So if you're interested, please join. Thanks.
I love it. You can impress your family this season with some healthy meals. They probably won't even know that they're not healthy because Miss Myhan makes delicious stuff. So, and last but not least, if you're not following us on our social media, you're missing out because you really should. You're missing out on Audrey's Pumpkin Bites, which that's the whole reason to follow our social media. But again, we have a private Facebook group, a Facebook page, and a Twitter and an Instagram. So go check them